So just a few minutes, please.
Okay, thank you. Possible you can hear us. That means we are good. Okay, fantastic. You are live on. For any reason, if you are not able to join through the webinar, we are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube, so you can, join in from any of those platforms as well. So we are just 5 minutes away from, waiting for more guys to join us. Just doing our testing to be sure technically we are good to go. So we are on Facebook, YouTube, and okay. We have 4 minutes more. Let me share my screen to show us something. Some feed needed. Share. Okay. We have 3 more minutes to go. Two more minutes. We're having more guys join us. Fatima, welcome. Adedeji, Boyega. Sorry if I don't pronounce your name correctly. Hector, Julia, Marika, Maureen, Okoro. Yeah, you're all welcome. God, so nice to have you all here. Okay, 1 more minute and you'll be live. Okay. yeah, the time has come. So David, take up from here and start the Odd Axis 2021 virtual fashion show right now. David, over to you.
All right, Steven. Thank you very much for the great work, Steven. So very quickly, I would do a little bit of introduction before, of course, we get into the program. So my name is David Ayo, or you can say Ayo David, of course, and I am the creative director of Odd Axis Studio. And first off, I would like to welcome each and every one of you here. I'm very glad to have everyone here. I'm very glad that you guys have created time out of your schedule to actually experience this with us. So, but before I would go ahead, I would like to just mention or address a little issue. So, Odd Axis Studio goal usually is to connect people, irrespective of the country, the tribe, or whatever place they are. Our goal is to create a global village using fashion as the connection. So I would like to quickly identify and plead with us that not all of our speakers and of course not all of our audience have English as their native language. We have some people from different parts of the world, but who have actually taken their time to still be here irrespective of the English barrier. And I also know some people are listening, some people who are not Nigerian are listening because I am from Nigeria. And of course, I have a Nigerian accent. So please, as much as possible, please bear with us. As much as possible, we'll try as much to be as audible as we can. So I just wanted to put that right in front of us that, okay, bear with us just for that, please. So that being said, I think we are good to go. So I would like to welcome you all to Odd Axis 2021 Virtual Fashion Show. I am very, very, very excited about this. We have started this journey, and the goal of this virtual fashion show has been to see how far we can actually push virtual fashion and what virtual fashion actually holds for us in the future. So with no further ado, we are going to get into the program. But first off, I would like to introduce our speakers. So we are privileged to have some very, 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 very amazing guys in the 3D visual fashion industry here with us today. We have the amazing Alexander Komanin from Russia. All right. And then we have Bujay Seret. Bujay Seret, please can you wave to the audience? All right, thank you. Then we have Elizabeth, aka Dami Illustrations, but for some reasons she would not be able to share her screen with us, but she's definitely here with us and she's going to be following us through this whole experience. Now, the purpose of this conference, like I said earlier, is when we started this conference, when we conceptualized this conference, Fashion of the Future, what was on our mind was that okay, we know everything is going forward. We are everything is going digital now. Everything is going virtual. So we organized this conference to say, okay, now what is fashion place in the future? What's the perspective? How is fashion going to look like from the future, considering the current state of things right now? So thank you very much. I'm going to be sharing my screen, and I'm also going to be sharing a couple of works with you as we go along. So just to make this a much more enjoyable experience, I'm not going to bore us with too much of words and too much of slides. I also want us to learn one or two things as we go along. So I'm going to be showing a couple of works while I talk. This is not a training specifically. We have a training planned on later. So what we are just here to do today is to discuss, to share idea, to share work, to share experience on visual fashion and how we think visual fashion is actually the fashion of the future. Thank you very much. So just a while, I'm going to share my screen. All right. All right, I hope you all can see my screen. Yes, okay, I think my screen is good to go right now. Aha. So now we are opening the conference with the question, what is 3D virtual fashion? I know to a very large extent, we must have been hearing the word. We have been seeing 3D virtual fashion a lot of times, and we are actually asking, what is it? A lot of times we have seen amazing works. Of course, some of the works, some of our people have put out, some of our people in the industry, and even some of the works we have also put out as Audaxis Studio. So we are asking, what is this 3D visual fashion all about? What is the concept of 3D visual fashion? So very quickly, I'm just going to explain what 3D visual fashion is for the new guys here, for the guys who don't really understand what 3D visual fashion is. So, but before I go ahead, I would like to confirm if my screen is visible to everyone. Steven, sorry, Steven, is my screen
Yeah, it
visible?
is. It is.
All
Yes,
right,
it
that's
is.
great. That's great. So, answering the question, what is 3D visual fashion? All right. So 3D visual fashion is a fast-rising computer technology that allows you to create realistic looking visual clothes while applying real-life sewing principles. So basically what 3D visual fashion is all about is about applying CGI softwares, that's like under computer technology. CGI means computer generated imagery. So it is applying it to create real life looking clothes patterns, real life looking clothes garments, and while still following the real life sewing principles. So what do I mean by real life sewing principles? We have some tailors, we have some fashion designers listening to us in this place. So when you actually want to do stuff with 3D visual fashion, you are actually going with the real life sewing principles because it is just the way you actually make stuff on your drawing board. That is the way you apply and you draw your patterns in 3D visual fashion. It is the way you actually sew your clothes in real life. You actually sew. So that's what I mean by applying 3D visual fashion. So what 3D visual fashion basically does is that it brings real life sewing principles into 3D. It makes it virtual. So you are not working with your sewing machine, you are not working with your drawing table, everything has been brought to you virtually. So that's basically what 3D visual fashion is about. So in going forward, I'm just going to break what 3D visual fashion is further so we can have a much more better understanding of 3D visual fashion. Okay, so 3D visual fashion allows you to create clothes patterns. It allows you to texture your clothing patterns. It allows you to animate your clothes patterns. It allows you to assign clothes to a visual model, and it also allows you to assign a stage to your visual model. All right. So what I mean when I say 3D visual pattern allows you to create clothes patterns is that, okay, I might not be going very much into details, but I'm just going to show you a little bit of how this works. So you see these are patterns, just like the way we draw out our patterns, what we intend to sew in real life. So whatever you want to create, if you want to create a shirt, if you want to create a trousers, if you want to create whatsoever you want to create, you know that you are definitely applying the same life principles, the same life patterns. All you are doing is drawing your patterns out. So you just assume now that this is your 2D table, while this is your model, your virtual model, when what you want to do. So you create your patterns. Then when you create your pattern, you actually texture your pattern. So this is what I mean by texturing. So by texturing, what you are doing is that you are applying clothes fabrics, you are applying materials to your clothes so you can give it the feel you want. So sometimes you might want your clothes to look like jeans material. Sometimes you might want your clothes to look like velvet. So what you get to do with 3D visual fashion is that you have the flexibility to assign whatever material. So very quickly, I'm just going to show you what I mean by saying assigning material to your fabrics. Okay, just a while. Okay, so we have some fabric options here. You can actually take this fabric and drop it right over on this place. So if this is the fabric you want for your clothes, okay, let's look at another nice looking fabric. Okay, you can take this, drop and drop. you can drop. So just very quickly, you can actually assign materials as much as you want to do. You can be flexible with your clothing materials. So 3D visual fashion also allows you to texture your patterns. Then it also allows you to animate your clothes. Okay, I'm sorry about the movement of my screen. So as you can see now, if I was to create an animation for this, yeah, so you don't just get to create your clothes in 3D visual fashion. You actually get to bring your clothes to life. You get to animate it. You get to make it do the different actions you want to do. And I've put some of my showreels here, some of our showreels, just so you can have a much more clearer understanding of what I'm saying. Yeah, we have this dance shot that we did a while ago. All right, so all of this still falls under visual fashion. What I'm just trying to show with this is that visual fashion does not just allow you to create your clothes and animate it. It also allows you to give it the flexibility of animation you want. You can get your clothes dancing, you can get your clothes running, you can do, in fact, whatever you can picture. The possibility is limitless when it comes to 3D visual fashion. So another characteristic of 3D visual fashion is that 3D visual fashion allows you to assign your clothes to a visual model. So we have a lot of avatars you can always try out. You know, we have some avatars here. I might not be opening the avatars, but of course, there are so much avatars we have here. You can actually download some online. So if I wanted another model to wear this my clothes now, what I would simply need to do is that I'm going to go into my avatar library and choose amongst my avatars. So then lastly, one thing 3D visual fashion allows you to do is that it allows you to choose your stage. It allows you to select your stage, assign a stage to your visual model. So you can see that we have this visual model in a stage. So sometimes we might actually want another style of stage. We might actually want maybe a bigger stage. We might want a different color of stage. With 3D visual fashion, we have that flexibility. You can create your stage. You can put your visual model working on the street. So whatever you want to do, you have the flexibility. You have the flexibility to enjoy, to go around. Okay, sorry, I just got a notification from Steven. So Steven, please, is my screen still on board? Is my screen visible to everybody?
Yeah, your screen is here showing.
All right, thank you very much. All right, so that's basically what 3D visual fashion is about. It allows you to create whatever clothes you can imagine deep in your mind, whatever clothing idea you have in your mind. What 3D visual fashion does is that it allows you to bring your concepts to life. It allows you to be flexible with whatever pattern. If you want to make a jeans pattern, you have the jeans fabric. If you want to make a velvet pattern, you have the velvet fabric. Whatever you want to do, you have that flexibility to do it with 3D visual fashion. So that's just a quick introduction of what 3D visual fashion is. Of course, it is much more than that, but I just want all of us to have an idea of what the whole concept of 3D visual fashion is. Then very quickly, I'm going to talk about a few things, then I'm going to allow our presenters to actually share some knowledge with us too. So the next question we are asking is that why is 3D visual fashion the future of fashion? I know a lot of times you have been hearing about the concept of 3D visual fashion, and a lot of times you have also been hearing that, okay, this is the latest thing, this is the trendy thing in the fashion industry. We have been hearing that it is the future of fashion. So the question we are asking ourselves right now is that why are people saying that this is the future of fashion? What potential does 3D visual fashion have? So the answer is very simple, and the answer is that sorry about that. The answer is that the future is virtual. Now we are in a time where everything is going digital, and businesses and industries, individuals that must survive, that must thrive, must be able to actually go virtual too. And this is no different for the fashion industry. I think 2019, 2020, with the rise of coronavirus, the whole coronavirus pandemic, I think it was an eye opener to us to actually get to see that things are actually getting virtual. So with the coronavirus, we saw that people could no longer meet physically. People could no longer have meetings. They could no longer go for conference. Everything was being done virtually. Even people could no longer go for fashion runways. And to a large extent, people could no even longer wear the beautiful clothes they had sewn. So we can, I think this was an opener. This was an insight that let us know that okay, things are actually getting virtual, because that period of time, the businesses that were able to thrive were the businesses that were able to incorporate um, digital technology. And that was the time we actually started getting the introduction of the rise of 3D visual fashion. All right. So another thing I would like to talk about now about 3D visual fashion being the future of fashion is that you know, a lot of us have heard about the term metaverse. Now, the metaverse is a term that is trending seriously. Facebook just changed its company name to Metaverse, having that be the umbrella company that oversees all the Facebook companies. So now, you know, when we talk about the metaverse, what it simply means now is that things are going to be virtual. People are going to start having a virtual presence. And by virtual presence, I mean people are actually going to start having avatars. Okay, you know, I talked about avatars like this before. And I said, okay, you can actually select an avatar in Clo 3D. So the whole concept of the metaverse now is that you actually have an avatar to yourself. You can actually appear in the 3D space, and you can actually carry out actions. So now we are going to be spending a lot of time in this metaverse. We are going to be spending a lot of time operating virtually. And that begs the question that, okay, if we are going to be spending a lot of times operating virtually, then what are we going to be wearing? Of course, we are going to be able to wear clothes. People are going to be going for meetings virtually. People are going to be having concerts virtually and doing a lot of things virtually. So we definitely know that, okay, this is starting to create a base. Okay, so I can hear a strange noise in the background. All right. So this is starting to create the concept. This is starting to let us know that things are going virtual, and every fashion brand, every fashionista, in fact, every industry has to start tapping into this. Everybody has to start finding a way to actually get into 3D visual fashion. So these are some of the reasons I've pictured, and these are some of the reasons why we are actually saying 3D visual fashion is the future of fashion. But before I go ahead, I would also like to hear some contributions. I would also like to hear the ideas and perspectives of some of our speakers who are also going to be sharing with us why they feel that 3D visual fashion is the future of fashion. So Alexander Kumanin, over to you, please.
Hey everyone.
All right, sorry, Alexander, you can share your screen. You can share your
Uh,
screen with us, please.
Now I can't, and now I can. Okay.
All right.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. So, um, anything you said previously is amazing, and of course we can do it right now. But like everywhere, we need to make first step in this digital world. So, how to start making digital fashion, and how what's program we need to use, teach, and what we need to do for the first step. And I'm so sorry, English is not my native language, so sometimes I can make some mistakes. So help. I'm sorry. I hope you will understand me. If not,
Yeah, we get good.
ask me some questions. I hope
All right.
to talk about it. So, uh, what is digital fashion? David already said it, but where we can use digital fashion, who need it? Fashion brands, of course, need it. Game industry and game studio, of course, need it, because we need we have avatars, we have characters in game projects, and they also need garment like we do. Metaverses is next step, and of course in metaverses we also have avatars, and we need to buy garments for our avatars. digital fashion is not about only trendy theme like everyone do it right now. It's about ecology too, because we don't need to waste a lot of water or human races. We can make 3D model with patterns. We can choose fabric we want, and it makes garment production very easy for anyone and any brand. So if your brand not so big, you also can make digital garment and be in trend right now. I'm sorry, I'm a bit nervous, so I hope you understand me.
All right, that's fine. All right,
Here,
yeah, we do.
thank you. So here you can see my works. What is it? Let me explain. This beautiful girl in my dress. This is digital dress that you can buy on Replicant Fashion. What is it? It's a marketplace where you can upload your photo, buy digital garment, and Replicant Fashion will wear you up in this digital dress. This picture is my work for not so large brand. It's local brand called Yelizaveta, and this is my works for portfolio. What about portfolio? We will talk about portfolio.
Okay.
We will talk.
It's all right.
Okay. So, how to start? It's always hard to start because you don't know what to do. You don't know where to find information that will help you. So, you can learn 3D free. It's okay and it's normal. Where you can find your free lessons? Of course, it's YouTube tutorials. You can find Clo 3D channel on YouTube, and there will be a lot of videos for beginners, like how to make 3D patterns, how to make 3D model, where you can find some more information about how to make this or that.
Okay.
3D Couture, it's another YouTube channel. It's in Russian language because it's Russian school that teach you how to make 3D garment. And
Okay.
Evgenia Petrova is a creator, and she has YouTube channel, Instagram, ArtStation portfolio, and it's always good to find, creators that you like, and
Okay.
sometimes just repeat what they do. Like if they have ArtStation portfolio, do ArtStation portfolio. If they have a YouTube channel, maybe you can also make YouTube channel and make short videos like I'm beginner and now you can see what I'm doing right now, and maybe you have some questions, or maybe I have some questions and you can help me, and something like that. Follow creators socials like Evgenia Petrova. You can follow her or another creators, and in social media, creators always make posts about how I made it, and you can see like how I can make good puffer, because it's always hard to make good simulation in puffer, and sometimes creator like, hey, I use this and this and this, and you can see this good result, and you can also repeat it. It's like free tutorials from good creators. ask and speak with another beginners and creators. It's always simpler to learn 3D in, you know, in small group, like, you know, with friends, and you can also you can always have question, and you can speak with another beginners, like how to make this, and oh, I made it like this, and oh, I'm sorry,
All right,
I
you are
didn't.
doing great, Alexander. We are with you.
I hope you understand me. If not, please.
Yeah, we understand you. Definitely, we do.
Okay, and at least just do something and don't be afraid. It's always hard to start, but it's always simple to download programs and just open it. Click anywhere you want. When you're beginning, it's always okay to make mistakes. Don't care about it, just do it. Open YouTube tutorials, repeat what they're doing, or you can just click anywhere and just make something. Seriously, don't be afraid, and show what you're doing. It's okay. Your first model will be not so beautiful, I think, like mine, but again, don't be afraid and post it in Instagram like, hey, I'm learning 3D and this is my first model. What are you doing? What do you think about it? And it's okay. It's okay. Just don't be afraid and do something.
Okay.
How to find clients is about how to make money on your 3D fashion. And it's the same problem as first. It's I'm afraid to make 3D models for money. I'm beginner, I don't know a lot of things and how I can make money. It's okay. It's okay. First, you need to make good portfolio. You need to make Instagram, Behance, and ArtStation. This is free platforms that allows you make good portfolio for free and make contacts, make clients, and make you know kind of good portfolio easy. Like everyone knows what is Instagram, so let's make portfolios there. It's always fun and easy to use Instagram. Then after you make good portfolio, you can text your local brands, like small brands that don't have too much money, and you can also text them like, hey, here's my portfolio. What is digital fashion? Digital fashion is ha ha ha. Why do you need digital fashion? Ha ha ha. Here's my portfolio and here's my cases with another projects for another brands. And be sure, not all your local brands will be interesting in it, but I think one or two or maybe three brands will be interesting, and you will make real cases with real brands. It's always good for beginning. And make cases with digital garment is almost the same as make good portfolio. So after you make your first job for your local brand, make good case maybe in Behance, so you can text like question of this project was how to make our production more eco-friendly, and we start to make 3D garment before we start sewing, and photo and something like that. You can also watch good creators on Behance and just repeat what they're doing. It's okay. It's okay for beginning.
Okay.
Then, what software is better to use? Clo3D and Marvelous Designer. Here you can make digital garment patterns, cloth simulating, animation, and a lot of things. And you know, it's not so hard to teach it. And you can also watch YouTube tutorials to teach it and to learn it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No.
Learn it. So if you also have, you know, if you designer, garment designer, or you know, tailor, it will be so easy for you because many things that Clo3D and Marvelous Designer has is the same like you have in your atelier, like scissors, lines, button, fabric, and a lot of things like that. Then Dust Studio.
Okay.
In Dust Studio, you can easily make 3D avatars, digital humans. You can also render them. There. I'm so sorry. It's easy to use, really. Then you can also learn Blender. What is Blender? It's 3D program that allows you to do a lot of things, like good quality render, making 3D objects, making animation and videos, and a lot of things. For beginning, you can only learn Clo3D and Marvelous Designer, but if you want to make something good quality projects with a big budget, you need to learn Dust Studio and Blender. And if you want to make, you know, the best projects on this digital fashion world, you need to learn Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine allows you to make realistic avatars. You can also make little games there, like, you know, Balenciaga made. So you can make your own game with your garment, and I think it will be so nice and so interesting to see and play with it. Like, I'm so sorry, I forgot English right now.
All right.
So that's all, because I don't know what I need to say right now, because just don't be afraid. That's all I need to say. Don't be afraid.
Okay.
Start from something. Right now you can Clo3D. You can download Clo3D on your computer for free for 40 days, and it's enough to learn it. So just do something. It's easy. Don't be afraid. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alexander. It's great hearing from you.
Thank you.
So yes, we are still going to get back to you to still get some ideas from you, but we would like to hear from Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, what do you think? What do you feel? How do you feel 3D visual fashion is the future of fashion? All right, Elizabeth, are you with us? Okay, all right. It seems Elizabeth might be having some issues with her internet. So I'm just going to go straight to Bilge Seret. So Bilge Seret, please can you share with us knowledge on your experience with 3D visual fashion, what you think about it?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay. Do you see that my
Yes, we can.
screen? Okay. There are just some of the works I've designed with Claude on the screen, and I'm Bilge. So please wait a second. Yes. Okay. I'm attending the conference from Turkey. Let me tell you a bit about myself. I graduated from Eskişehir Technical University as a fashion designer. First of all, I would like to thank David from Ad Access Studio for the invitation and keeping in touch with me. Now I'm going to talk about the feature of the 3D virtual fashion, my thoughts about virtual fashion, and all my experiences about Claude within the time given to me. So I'm so exactly sorry. We talk a lot about 3D virtual fashion in the future as well as now. Technology has shown itself in every field as it's an indispensable and constantly renewing and developing part of our lives now. The secrets of this technology lie in the fashion of the future. Uh, in fact, 3D fashion and virtual models, whose main purpose is sustainability, have provided a much faster and more practical approach to the fashion system, uh, improving the design workflow with the effect of the pandemic period we are still in. So as you know, fashion shows are being presented virtually now, and almost every brand has started to use this system. So virtual fashion, which made its big debut during the pandemic period, will undoubtedly be indispensable for the future. The opportunities that virtual fashion and digitalization give to both companies and consumer are innumerable. Most importantly, it's environmental and friendly and sustainable. Thanks to virtual fashion, companies both save money and prevent environmental pollution in process from yarn to fitting while producing their products. In addition, the sample is present to the consumer digital with user. Sorry about that. The company both makes a profit and saves time. Moreover, grading patterns is much easier in these softwares, and editing your patterns is easy if something goes wrong during the design process. While it's profitable for companies, it's also very advantageous for consumers. It enables products to be seen in three-dimension through created virtual avatars in the internet shopping. This situation can suggest strengthening the communication with the consumer, raising the trust in the product and the brand, and positive effect into the product purchasing behavior. So in general, it can be said that the integration of these technologies into the fashion industry has a positive effect. It can be predicted that these technologies will have a larger share in the fashion industry in the future and will develop with their innovative application and establish new communication channels with their consumer. So how did I discover and learn this software, Cloud? Actually, I did it in the last. After receiving training, I had lots of experience and design many designs of my own during the pandemic period. Plus, I started to improve myself and learn the program better. I wanted to create an Instagram account, share my designs with my friends and everyone else. Uh, so people who are better or more experienced than me have inspired and encouraged me. I try to make new designs whenever possible. So that's all by me. Thank you for listening to me. That's these designs I made belong to a children's brand. You see.
Nice.
This is the Pet Sole children's brand.
All right, nice, nice. All right. Thank you, BJ.
Sorry. You're welcome. Sorry about my English is really
We
so
understand
bad.
it well.
I'm reading this speech my phone. So this is
All right. Thank you very much, BJ. We are very honored to have you with us. So,
Mhm.
all right. So BJ has done a very good job, giving us more insights into what 3D visual fashion
Thank
is. So we have another speaker, Elizabeth, and I'll check if she's on track right now. She's going to be sharing some knowledge with us too regarding 3D visual fashion. Elizabeth is an experienced 3D fashion artist too, and she's here with us. So Elizabeth, are you with us?
Hello, yes, I am.
All right. So Elizabeth, you can share your screen with us, please.
Okay. I'm coming.
All right.
Okay. Is my screen showing?
Yes, your screen is showing well.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I'm Elizabeth. I'm a fashion designer, 3D an illustrator, and a 3D artist. So basically, the topic of talking about fashion and virtual fashion for the future, it's something also designers have been looking into because I've worked with a designer recently. I don't know why this is going on. Okay, and I've worked with a designer recently, and she talked about how the COVID-19 period affected them in their runway shows, doing physical runway shows, that she refused to participate in the Lagos Fashion Week because of that. Because of that, and a fashion week being in the middle of the week, like when people are supposed to be at work, why will I be going to go and watch a fashion show where the Gen Zs will be with the camera and they can't see what is going on and everything? So it got me thinking of why virtual fashion is actually more important right now in learning, and more important right now in learning. And even you could see Vogue, Balenciaga, and the rest of the fashion brands going more into virtual fashion. They have their collections being showed through virtual fashion, creating them on Clio, Marvelous Designer, and the rest of them to be shown to the world. So you can sit at home and just watch a fashion show online without having to leave your house or anything. And we could do it's don't limit yourself to just only fashion brands. We have the gamers, we have NFT, we have the metaverse where they create the gamers have done some designs for gaming for some gaming brands where I had to create an outfit for them. I'm trying to open that up. I had to create an outfit for some characters. They had the design and I had to just make it on a model which they had. I'm sorry about this. My laptop is kind of hanging since I have so many things open at once. Sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. My laptop is
All right.
kind of hanging. I have so many things open at once. That's why.
All right. That's fine, Elizabeth.
Okay. Sorry. I don't know why it's doing this right now. I don't know why it's doing this right now. Well, I have
All right.
some of
Take
the
your time.
gaming problem. It's coming up. So you should just don't leave it yourself to just designing for fashion brands. There are also gaming brands and also maybe like a racing normal brands that maybe they deal on racing cars or making firefighters outfits or some other outfits for particular occasion that might actually need your help. So don't just limit yourself to only fashion brands for this. And also during your 3D, if you could create something unique, something that is a one of a kind thing, you will be able to work on to have your works on NFT. NFT being a it's actually a trend is in being a non-fungible token kind of. I'm still learning about it, but I know it's something that is much appreciated, right? It's getting more appreciated right now, and fashion brands, um, famous fashion brands right now are looking at how to work on NFT, how to get digital clothing on NFT where it will be sold in a limited amount. Also, I'm sorry about that. I don't know why it's not opening, but I have some more of my works here. Really sorry. Okay, so I have a suit design here which I created but I illustrated it first. Oh god, sorry.
Take your time. We understand how it works, or it's
Like
fine.
everything is open at once, that's why.
Yes, I understand.
I'm really sorry, everything is open at once. So
All right.
okay, so this is the illustration of the suit design that I got to meet here. It was just a personal work of mine, and I have
Okay.
this of the fire suit. I have the fire suit design also. I think my laptop has right now.
All right, don't
Okay.
worry. Elise, okay,
Suit design
okay.
made for someone. Made for someone. I think that's all. My laptop is really hanging and I need to close them up.
All
Right,
right,
so
no
that's
problem.
all.
All right, thank you very much, Elizabeth. We are still going to get back to you. But before I go ahead, I would just like to expatiate a little bit on some of the things some of the speakers have addressed. I hope you can see. Okay, I'm trying to share my screen. Please, just a minute. Okay. Aha. So now you can see my screen. All right. So this was the model we part of the cloth we model for Audax's Visual Fashion Runway 2021. Now I'm going to be showing a couple of models because I want to explain a point further that some of the speakers have talked about. So some of the speakers mentioned earlier that with 3D visual fashion, like there is no limitation to what you can do. You don't need to be afraid. You just need to keep on pushing, and that's true. We talked about earlier on, like why is 3D visual fashion the future of fashion? So part of those reasons is because it gives you the flexibility to do basically almost anything you want to do. I've been using Cloth 3D for a while, and I know you get to see some clothes sometimes, and it almost looks like as if it is impossible. But one thing I can only say is that if you push further, there is always a way you can actually bring your garment idea to life. There is always a way you can actually go around it, and whether it is you are trying to make an whatever clothes you are making, is it a three-piece suit, is it a gown, you can always make it in softwares like Cloth 3D. So this is one of the reasons why I actually always push people and tell them that, okay, you need to go further with Cloth 3D, because one thing Cloth 3D will also allow you to do is that it would allow you to express your creativity as an artist. Now, some of us have very crazy fashion ideas in our mind. And if you want to actually go ahead and create this fashion ideas, let's say you want to actually you want to make it in real life, that's going to cost some money. But the good thing about visual fashion, the good thing about Cloth 3D now is that you can actually make the clothes without spending any money making the clothes. You can actually see how the clothes looks like. You can actually go ahead and give the clothes, okay, this is one of the this is another trousers being made, although this is part of Cloth 3D, the 4 trousers you can see. So this was also made by an artist. So with Cloth 3D, whatever concept is on your mind regarding fashion, you can always go ahead and make it. Recently we got a brief from a client who asked us to say, okay, she gave us the idea and asked of it if it was feasible. And initially, when we looked at it, it looked a little bit complex, and we actually looking, okay, could we actually execute this? Okay, let me see if I can get the work. Okay, this is it. So just this part of this work. So when we got the job, it almost looked invisible at first, but with Cloth 3D, once you are able to get the basics, once you're able to, find the tips and the tricks, you can literally create anything. So this goes for the fashion designers who are also artists, who have very bold ideas. Cloth 3D is an avenue for you to actually start to create. Is an avenue for you to actually start to express whatever idea you have. When you want to work with Cloth 3D, you have an idea, a garment idea in your mind. And if you are new into Cloth 3D, you might initially feel that it is not possible, and that is very fine. Understanding that, okay, you are just starting with Cloth 3D, but whatever idea you have in your mind, it can always be created with 3D visual fashion. And that's one of the reasons why I see a lot of artists and fashion designers going into 3D visual fashion, because it will save them the cost of actually, making this clothes in real life. They can actually experiment their ideas. They can do a lot of experimental designs. They can freestyle whatever idea is in your mind. You don't have to actually say you are making clothes for someone in specific, because sometimes you have some ideas in your mind and they are so crazy and it looks like as if, oh, nobody's even going to want to wear this type of clothes. But you see, the thing now is that with Cloth 3D, you can actually make some clothes and you can actually even still get some audience together for you. So some of our speakers have already talked about the fact that you can always sell your clothes on different platforms, that you can always get your clothes to different audience. And that's very true, of course. That's very true. You might actually make some clothes and you are just playing around with Cloth 3D and you make the clothes. and it almost seems as if, oh, there is no customer who is going to buy this clothes because of course the clothes is visual, but there are many platforms on which you can sell the clothes you have made to Clotheridy. So you might not be a fashion designer. For me, for instance, I'm not a fashion designer. In fact, I think I've only touched the sewing machine about twice. Yeah, about twice or thrice. And I've only attended one sewing class. So I do not have any history when it comes to sewing. Well, I just picked up Clotheridy because Clotheridy looked fun. I like to dress good. I like to look good, and I actually like to, play around with clothes. I like to experiment. So I just said, okay, well, let me see how this goes with this software, and you can see how it is going. Now, if you have an idea, if you have a background in 3D visual in sewing clothes, this is definitely going to give you an edge because, like I mentioned earlier, okay, I'm just going to try to open some of my works as I talk, so it's going to make it much more easier. Okay, aha, I think I've seen one I can speak about. Okay, let me open this one. All right, so sorry about that, please. I just want to let this be more interactive by showing you some works while I talk. Aha. So while this is loading, so like I said earlier, you can actually experiment with whatever idea, with whatever thoughts that is on your mind, and you should not be afraid of who is going to buy your clothes, who is going to buy your crazy ideas. You definitely know you have gaming industries, because when you talk about games, the gaming characters are wearing clothes. You have CGI, we have 3D animation movies. There is a high demand for visual fashion in that. So you just keep on experimenting with whatever idea you have. And I was saying before that if you actually have an idea of how it takes to sew in real life, this actually gives you an edge. Like I said, I don't have any experience when it comes to sewing. I don't know how to handle a sewing machine. I hardly know how to work with needle and thread. But what I'm trying to say now is that if you have that idea, it makes it much more easier for you. If you know how to work with a cutting table, if you know how to cut out your clothes on a scissors, with a scissors right on the table, that makes it easier, because if I'm about to show you some of these clothes and some of these designs that I've made, if you were to cut out your trousers in real life, this is the way you are going to cut out your trousers on your cutting table. So you just imagine that, okay, this is my drawing table and this is the visual model wearing my clothes. Okay, this is about to load. It's taking a little bit of time, but I think I will sort that out now. Okay, this should not take too much time. So you don't need prior experience, but if you do have experience with clothing, it actually makes the work much more easier for you. Then another thing some of our amazing speakers also talked about is how do you get to start Clotheridy? All right. So this is something I did recently, and this was of course part of the garments we made. This is just to show you the amount of details you can get in your clothes when you're working with Clotheridy. I can't do very much right now because it seems my computer is hanging, maybe a lot of activities on it at the moment. All right. So, but like I was saying, what Clotheridy allows you to do is that it gives you the flexibility, it gives you the flexibility of creating as much as you want to do. It gives you the liberty of working on the things you want to work on. So I also mentioned earlier that how do you get to start Clotheridy? Now, the thing about starting Clotheridy is that I see a lot of people get into Clotheridy and immediately they start working with Clotheridy, or let me say visual fashion. Sorry, sometimes I might say Clotheridy because Clotheridy is the software majorly being used for visual fashion. So sometimes you might actually get into visual fashion, and then it is expected, of course, you want to make something so cool. You want to make the tough stuff. You want to make the complex stuffs. But the truth is that, like every other software, like every other application, Clotheridy also takes some time to learn. You don't get to learn Clotheridy very quickly. You don't get to learn Clotheridy in about 1 week. You don't get to learn Clotheridy. You can actually grab the basics in about 2 days. You can get the basics in about a day. But for you to be able to get the tips and tricks, for you to be able to create some amazing things, you definitely know that, okay, Clotheridy is going to take some time. So what am I trying to say with this point? I am trying to say you have to start small. Start small. Start with the very simple things on Clo3D whenever you get to start working with Clo3D. Don't look at how you can create a suit, or don't look at how you can create this type of complex choices when you start working with Clo3D immediately, because it actually takes some time. When you want to start, you might want to start with some simple things like how you can make a singlet, how you can make a short sneaker. You start with the simple things. And once you are able to get how to work on these simple things, you know, with time, you actually get into knowing how to do better stuffs. Then another way you can learn Clo3D is that I feel Clo3D is the kind of software that it is much more easier when you learn from experts. Clo3D as a software might not be very easy for you to figure it out yourself, because when you open Clo3D like this now, you see a lot of options, you see a lot of dialog boxes, and you are scared and you're like, oh, what does this stand for? What does this do? What does this do? And you feel, okay, how do I go about this? So when you have somebody to take you through this process, it becomes much more easier for you to adapt. If you get somebody to tell you that, okay, this is the tool you use to do this, this is the tool you use to do this, this is how you create to do it. So you can actually take courses. You can learn from people who have been long in the game. There are people who offer tutorial courses. Audaxy Studio also offer free trainings. For our free trainings, we actually spend about 1 month, because we know that, okay, Clo3D is actually something that takes time for students to actually be able to digest and be free with. So we actually do offer long-term trainings for students, and during our training we also give students virtual materials to practice with, and we also help them with the software. So as much as possible, you want to try to learn from someone. You don't necessarily have to learn from a particular place. You can want to learn from YouTube, but the issue with learning with YouTube, sometimes YouTube is a very great source, but sometimes you don't get to ask some questions compared to when you are learning from somebody. You don't get to ask some question and get your question answered. So that's one way you can learn. You can learn from somebody. Then regarding starting Clo3D, another very important factor I would like to talk about is your equipment. So usually I get asked that can you work with your phone? Can you use Clo3D with your phone, or can you do 3D visual fashion with your phone? Truthfully, there are some softwares on your phone, there are some applications made on your phone that are being made for 3D visual fashion, and that is great. But the truth is that these softwares on phone don't offer the flexibility you need. You can hardly do as much as you want to. I'm hardly sure that there is any software that you can actually come to your drawing table, like all of those patterns. I drew all of this out. So I'm not sure any phone software will give you the flexibility of drawing your patterns, of having the flexibility you want to have. So the answer to that question is that Clo3D works much better on a computer. For you to work with 3D visual fashion, you are going to need a computer. Yes, and for a start, you might be afraid and say, okay, what type of computer do I need? Does the computer have to be very powerful? Well, surprisingly enough, Clo3D works on laptops that are not so powerful. Your laptop just needs to have a minimum of 4 to 6 gig RAM. It has to have about 64 bits. It has to be about 64-bit operating system, and then that also has to be about you have to have about 500 gigs of free space. So with that feature, you can actually do the basic things. I learned Clo3D with a very terrible system. The system I used to start with Clo3D couldn't do much animation. It was slow when I tried to do the work cycle, but I learned how to create the patterns with the system, because when you are actually drawing the patterns, the system is not consuming too much memory. So you can actually learn how to draw the patterns, how to freestyle. For instance, if you were to draw a pattern, here you have your pattern tool. You can draw your patterns, you can do whatever you want to do with whatever system you have, as far as Clo3D gets into the system. The only difficulty you might have when you start working with such system is that when you now want to go further, when you want to animate, you start having difficulties because it becomes very slow. I know the truth is that Clo3D is a system, is the type of software rather that actually consumes computer memory for tough operations. So now you can see all the animations that I've showed you earlier on. all these animations that I did, these animations were simulated in Clo3D. But you can't use any type of system to actually do all this type of animations. Before you can do these animations on Clo3D, your system has to be good to a very large extent. So for a start, you can start with a small system. Then when you keep on climbing the ladder of Clo3D, you can actually get a much more bigger system. You can get a much more stronger system. Now, the other thing I would also like to talk about is software. Now, I've talked about how you can start Clo3D. So what softwares do you use for Visual Fashion Rider? Yeah, you might have seen that I've mentioned Clo3D a lot of time. I've been saying Clo3D, Clo3D, Clo3D. Yes, and that's because Clo3D and its sister application, Marvelous Designer, are the two most common visual fashion applications that we have out there. That's not to say there are no other softwares. There are other softwares. There is, I think, Optilex. There are some that are there, but these are not very popular, and these are not I don't think they are as good as Clo3D. Clo3D is actually easy to use because what you literally have to do on Clo3D is that you create your pattern. You see the pattern I drew now. Earlier on, it has been replicated in my 3D view. So once I create my pattern, I take it to where I want it to be. You can see. Okay, just a moment. All right. So I'm going to zoom this. All right, so this is a cloth pattern now. And if I was to press simulate, you see that this cloth pattern is going to fall. Okay, this is going to take a little bit of time because I have another. Okay, let me close Clo3D because it is the work on my system now is a little bit much. So sorry about that, please. Let me just take this off. All right, this might actually take some time, but what I was actually trying to show you that is that the way Clo3D works is that once you create your clothes in this place, it gets replicated to this place in the form you have created it. Then once you press your simulation button, then okay, I think I can actually show you a little bit with a new avatar so you can understand how it works a little bit. All right. Aha, so we can do something with an avatar like this. So the way Clo3D works is very simple. You bring in your clothes. Once you draw your clothes on this place, it gets replicated in this place. Then you can now actually press your simulation button. And you can see you have been able to get an easy clothes pattern. So this is basically how it works. So Clo3D is a very, very good software. It is easy to use. It is intuitive to use. When you are talking about softwares that are actually good for 3D visual fashion, Clo3D is one of the top softwares. So what else? I think I've mentioned how you can start. Then, of course, how you can actually, what software you can use, Clo3D, other softwares you can use. You can also use Photoshop because you want to have the flexibility to be able to play around with your clothes. You want to have the flexibility to be able to do different functions, to be able to texture your clothes the desired way you like. So this is the reason why I said Clo3D is one of the best softwares. So I'm going to continue from Elizabeth. She's going to continue from where she stopped. She's going to be giving us more insights on Clo3D, on our experience as a 2D fashion artist and as a 3D fashion artist. So Elizabeth, over to you again, please. Okay, I think, okay, she's on.
Sorry.
All right, Elizabeth. Yes, that's fine. All right, so Elizabeth, you can share your screen right now.
Hello, I meant that you should maybe repeat what you said. I wasn't really listening.
All right, I said, can you share your screen? That I would like you to share with the audience, how you mix your experience as a 2D fashion artist and as a 3D fashion artist also.
Oh, okay. But there's a kind of a problem. I didn't think I would use my system again because I've closed everything down because it was hanging my system badly.
All right, that's fine. You can just share with us. We are listening to you.
Oh, okay. So for me, I've been, apart from using Marvelous or Claude 3D, I've kind
Okay.
of tried to explore other softwares with it, like DAZ Studio,
Okay.
like DAZ Studio Keyshot. Basically, the
Okay.
DAZ Studio and the DAZ Studio basically was for my avatars, but for my avatars and
Okay.
for renders on most times, and for my renders most times because it has a very good like realistic kind of looking sometimes for it. And my
Okay.
Keyshot also was for renders and animation, basically. So if you go through YouTube, you'll actually give a tutorial how to move from Marvelous or Claude 3D to other softwares, to all those other
Okay.
softwares, how to easily move in between them without any problem with it.
Okay.
And using my 2D and 3D, my 2D basically is to come up with the idea. Like I can't just come on the Clio and just start designing without having a view of what I want to do. So my 2D
Okay.
illustrations bring those ideas out and do it fast and all because I have to be fast. I'm always fast with it. So
Okay.
it's just a 10 minutes sketch of my idea of what is on my mind. Because if I just start on
Okay.
the Clio 3D, I get lost most of the time. I get lost and what am I doing? Like I don't understand what I'm doing. But having that sketch will help me create the patterns and what I want on the 3D thing. That's all.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. So I'm going to pass the ballot over to Alexander again. So Alexander is just going to be giving us a little bit more insight on his experience working with visual 3D visual clients too.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well, Alexander.
Okay, so what can I say? As
All
I
right.
said
So
previously, don't be afraid and oh, show my screen. I have nothing to show right now. So, okay. Don't be afraid to work with brands. Like, we are all human and everybody can understand what you want to provide to them. And
okay. So Alexander, so what was it like working with different clients, and how was your client's relationship been, and what are the people that you felt have actually needed this 3D visual service brand?
oh, okay. I'm working as a freelancer, and it makes your work with brands so easier.
Okay.
So you don't need to make to sign a lot of. I'm sorry, I forgot English right now. I'm so sorry.
All right, that's fine.
So it's better to work as a freelancer with brands because you don't need
Okay.
to sign a lot of contracts. It's first, and then secondly, a lot of brands need 3D fashion to make test sewing, like they can provide you patterns and you're making 3D simulation, and you can say that these patterns is okay, or you can say these patterns need change here and here, and you can show them where this pattern need to be changed. And of course, brands love to showing designs in 3D. Like they always want to make videos with 3D garment, with avatars in, you know, in 3D space, and something like that.
All right. Thank you, Alexander. So basically what we intended to do was to actually give you a little bit of insight as to what 3D visual fashion is. I'm trying to share my screen. Please, just a minute. Okay. All right. So basically, our intention was to actually let you know what it feels like and why we keep on saying 3D visual fashion is the future of fashion. So like we mentioned earlier, with 3D visual fashion, the possibilities is much. Technology is evolving, and every business and every fashion designer that is going to thrive has to start learning how to go digital too. And we also talked about the many ways through which you can actually start building your brand, how you can actually start, like how you can start being from the little things, you don't go too complex, and how you can actually start from, trying to learn from either YouTube or trying to learn from a course of trying to take a full course. So we don't intend to make the seminar very long. What we actually want to do is that we just want to give you an insight of what 3D visual fashion is and what 3D visual fashion, how 3D visual fashion is actually the future of fashion. So just before we round up, I would also like to mention very quickly that we offer trainings. I know some people are going to have difficulty trying to, get in to the world 3D visual fashion. Some people are going to ask the questions that, okay, how do we start 3D visual fashion? Well, Audacity Studio is always open for teaching and training new students. You have seen some of our works, and of course, our works communicate what we can do to you. So definitely, you can always reach out to us for training. Now, another thing I would like to mention now is that when you want to get Clo 3D, Clo 3D might be a little bit expensive, but what you can do is that you can always you can once you register with us, we actually help students. We give students the software for free, and we also give them some of the other needed softwares. So as much as possible, if you want to learn, you can always reach out to us, and as much as possible, we can always see what we can do together. So we are very grateful to have everyone here. We have had a little bit of some technical issues, but I think this was a great experience. So I would just like to leave the floor for the remaining speakers, just in case they have some other things to say before we call this a wrap. All right, so Alexander, Bill Gay, Elizabeth, so what, anything else? Okay, okay. All right,
Hello,
thank you.
David.
So all right,
Hello,
Stephen.
David. Yeah, before
Yes,
you go,
Stephen.
we have some questions
Okay.
that we can quickly answer. So everyone, like whatever you are like joining us, so you can quickly drop your questions. First one by Fatima Mohammed saying, can we use iPad for 3D designs?
Okay, I think Alexander would be in the best place to answer that question because Alexander has an experience with it. I personally have not experienced it. One thing I know is that, okay, Alexander, please, can you go ahead and answer the question?
Alexander, yeah, this the person is asking, can we use iPad for 3D designs?
No, you can't use iPad for 3D designs in Clo3D, but there are a lot of 3D software on iPad, like Nomad and Procreate, and it's allowed to make 3D models that you can use on computer later, but you can't make garment on your iPad.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is, which 3D applications are used for creating avatars? Which 3D applications are used for creating avatars?
All right. So
I can
I'm going to answer the question, and I'll also let Alexander and probably Elizabeth share some insight on that too. So the avatar creation process is a large process. Number one, most of the time, Clo3D already provides you with a lot of avatars that you don't need to create your avatar. You don't need to make your avatar. You can also download avatars online too. But if you actually want to create avatars, then that is going to be a whole complex, another different level of CGI. Avatars could be made, but that's like a whole world on its own. And I don't think that is one we want to get into when you are going into Clo3D. So I think this, and then that's 3D. I don't use that 3D, but I'm sure Alexander and Elizabeth, they use that. So they will have some experience on sharing how that 3D can also be used when working with characters. So Alexander, over to you.
Yeah, the easiest program you can use for making avatars is DAZ 3D. So there are a lot of free avatars there, and you can change it, like, just click and drag on cursor on your monitor, and it's so easy to use. And if you want to make something more realistic, you can use MetaHuman in Unreal Engine, but it's not that easy. For beginning, it's better to use DAZ 3D. It's free, it's simple, and it's so quickly.
Okay. So Elizabeth, what do you say about creating avatars? How do you make your avatars?
Okay, so mostly I use either the character on Marvelous, but sometimes it might not give you the body shape you want. So I use that studio where I'm able to size and resize the characters there. You can also buy
Okay.
from their store in that studio, and there are also free models online that you could get, and also a new one that I found out on iClone Character Creator. It's something I'm also trying to know how to use. Like, it also works like that studio, and also Blender. You could actually create characters on Blender if you have that time.
Okay. That's nice. All right, thank you,
Okay.
Elizabeth. So Stephen, do we have any more questions?
We have more questions. Just once we are done taking questions, we can do a wrap. So, is it possible to learn and understand only during the weekend, provided that one is always busy during the weekdays? Do you have any advice for Ade Dimeji? He wants to know if somebody can learn this through only weekends because he's always busy during the weekdays.
Okay. You see, the thing with Clo3D is that okay, maybe I should share my screen since I'm answering questions right now. I can share my webcam. All right. So now the thing about Clo3D is that Clo3D requires practice. It's not going to be about you learning during the week, because of course you can always, and if you were to create a platform or a schedule through which you could learn during the weekend, that's great. But you see, the thing about Clo3D is that I can assure you that if you practice Clo3D only during the weekend, it will take you a very, 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 very long time before you can be good with it. So what I would advise is that even if you find a way through which you can, work with Clo3D during the weekend, you have to see that you practice a lot. The thing about Clo3D is that, I'm sorry, there's a little bit of it here. So the thing about Clo3D is that there are some tips and there are some tricks. And if you want to be good with Clo3D, you have to keep on practicing. You have to have those things in your mind constantly. So if you are going to be good with Clo3D, you can practice during the weekend. There can be a course. Of course, you can always take a course that you can work on during the weekend. But if you are going to be good and you want to practice during the weekend, it's going to take a very, very long time before you actually get good with Clo3D. So thank you.
Okay, the last question we have from Eunice. Eunice is asking, please, how do we get the pictures of the fabric? I have a particular fabric in my store. How do I get it into the app? Like, this person has, like, she has a dress she wants to make, that is in our store and she wants to have a look-alike of the clothes, into the app. Any advice, any recommendation, any steps for Eunice?
Okay. For me though,
Okay.
when I have a fabric,
Alexander is going to answer the question, but I'll just share a little bit of.
Sorry, David. Elizabeth is on.
Oh.
Elizabeth, continue.
For me,
Yeah.
though,
Yeah.
there are some. Okay, if the fabric you are using is kind of like a common fabric you can find online, I think you could look for a PGN or a JPEG of a squash fabric, because there are some fabrics like that they have a 2D on Google that you could always find. On Google. You just search the type of fabric online. That is like, I don't know how to explain it more, but there's a section on the Marvelous, on the Clio 3D, where you could actually input it there. Or you could take a picture by yourself, make sure the fabric is flat, laid flat with no wrinkles on the table. And you take a picture where you have most of the thing inside it and you import it into fabric on this thing. That's how I work for my.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. David.
Yes.
You wanted to say something?
Okay, yeah, Elizabeth already said what I was going to say. I think she has
Okay.
mentioned the 2 ways through which you can actually get online. Like she said, if you want to get a specific fabric, what you need to do is take a picture of your fabric. Once you snap your fabric, make sure that the lighting is even. You don't want any shadow to reflect on your fabric. So you lay it on a very flat ground. Then you see that the light is actually being referred to as seamless fabric. Continuously. So you just make sure that it is flat and the pattern is the same all over, so you can definitely replicate it on your system and on your avatar garment.
Okay, so those are the questions that we have.
All right, Stephen, is there any more questions?
No, those are the questions. The questions are finished for now.
All right. Thank you. All right, thank you very much, Stephen. So we are still going to be open to answering more questions. And before the class, we promised that we are going to be giving out some free visual garments just to encourage people that are actually new in the game and intend on, furthering into Clo3D. So in a very short while, we are going to send a link to the Telegram, and through the Telegram link, you are going to be able to access this garment. And whenever you get into Clo3D, then you know that okay, you have something to start with. Also, we are also going to be offering a 2-day free training program. And you might not be able to learn all in 2 days, but you are going to be learning a lot in those 2 days. And that's going to be on the 19th and 20th. So you are all invited for the program. And like I said earlier, we also offer about 1 month training program where we provide students with software and visual clothes that they need. So you can always reach out to us and we are always going to respond. Then lastly, I want to take this opportunity to thank all of the presenter, Buje Sherit, Alexander Kumanin, Elizabeth, and everybody for coming, for making this a realistic experience, for making this possible. I am very grateful. We intend to do more things like this, and we intend to, actually continue to push the boundary in visual fashion. So I hope to see everyone in our next week training. You're all invited for our training. And once again, a very big thank you to everyone who has come for this event. If there is any questions you have to ask us, always text us on any of our social media platform. You can always reach out to us. Thank you very much.
So before we go, finally, please, you can, our website is www.oddazixstudios.com, www.oddazixstudios.com, and we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook and YouTube, Oddazix Studios is everything. So you can also mail us oddazzystudio@gmail.com. oddazzystudio@gmail.com. That's if you have any question. The Odd Aziz does not have X. Odd Aziz Studio, no S, @gmail.com. So if you have questions you want us to attend to after this conference, you can just let us know.
All right.
Marika, there are more questions. Please, you can send these questions to the Telegram page, Instagram, or to our Telegram group. We attend to these questions because we are about to round up this session.
All right. I also want to mention something very quickly. Please, you have seen some amazing works from our speakers, and I know you actually want to know more about them. You want to know their social media page. So immediately after this class, we are going to be dropping each of them social media page on our social media. You can always reach out to any of them to ask them, is it for collaboration, to ask them questions you want to know about their workflow, and if there is anything you want to do with them. So we are going to leave their social media handle on our Telegram page. We have gone beyond the time we planned. We planned about just 2 hours for this. Okay, we have not actually gone beyond time. So okay.
Sorry, David. Please, before we go, these questions are coming late, but it will be good we attend to them. We are still within the 2 hours limit. Sorry, everyone. So we have a question here from Marika. Sorry if I don't get a name correctly. Marika says, metal ring freaked me out. Any tricks? Like, do you know what metal ring is? So this person is having a challenge with metal ring. He's saying that when he works on bags, they fly, and you always need to freeze the button anyway to stabilize them on the ground, not to freeze. Do you understand that question? Anyone that can help Marika out? Okay. Okay, so the next question is, will there be opportunity to download the patterns in different sizes? The patterns to be used, can they download it on different sizes?
Sizes of avatar?
Maybe the question is not clear. I say, are we able to download these patterns in different sizes? That's a follow-up to the question this person asked about how to get clothes into the applications.
Okay. So I'm so sorry, Stephen. My network connection got broken right now, and I had to quickly rejoin. So I'm very sorry. Please, can you just summarize that question again?
Okay. The first one says, there are 3 questions now. Those are the last 3 we are taking. And sorry, everyone, if you have more questions, please drop them on the Telegram group or drop them on our social media handles. Definitely, we are going to get back to you. So this first one says, follow up to the first question. This is from Unit. She's asking, is there a way to download the patterns in different sizes, like the avatar patterns, if I get it correctly?
Okay, so avatar patterns, when you talk about avatar patterns, the word avatar and the word patterns, they are 2 separate things. So I believe maybe you are asking if you're talking about downloading the patterns, because I hope my screen is showing.
Sorry,
let me show my screen.
Sorry, let me show this. Sorry, let me see if I can show this question. Sorry, please hold on, everyone. We just have like 10 minutes more. We'll be up.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Can we see these questions?
Okay. Okay, so what's your question, Stephen? I can't see it now. The question is not showing.
Okay. 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 This question is saying the first
Okay.
one is saying okay, this person is trying to explain the question. Say what I mean. That person that asked about pattern is saying that what he or she means, like Eunice, what she means is that if she's to work as a facial pattern drafter, yeah, can she download them?
Okay.
Facial pattern drafter.
Yes, you can
She
download.
and different
Yes, you
sizes.
can always. Yes, you can always download patterns. They are
Okay.
always what's the name? There are always platforms you can actually get to download some patterns. Some of the platforms are like you can check CG Trader, and just so you want to download 3D clothes patterns. You can also check I think TurboSquid. There are a lot of patterns, but when you check on the internet, it might not be very common. But yes, you can actually always download some patterns that you can actually start learning with.
Okay, so Yewande, the next question is from Yewande. She's asking, can we also design accessories? Like accessories, I'm sure like maybe necklace, earring, if that's what she's talking about, like wristwatches.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to leave the question for Alexander
Shoe
to answer.
bags,
Alexander, are you
shoe
with us? Can
bags,
you answer the question,
complete.
please?
Alexander.
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you repeat the question? I hear it about accessories, right?
Okay, yeah, the person is asking that can she also design accessories such as shoes, bags, complete styling, etc., like a necklace and all that, like in 3D, as part of 3D virtual fashion making.
You can make you can make bags in Clo3D or Marvelous Designer, but if you need to make shoes or another accessories, it's better to use Blender 3D or another software that allows you to make 3D objects. You can make necklaces or another accessories in Clo3D, but it will be so hard to make it.
Okay, so thank you,
Okay.
Alexander.
Okay.
So the
Thank
last
you.
question,
Yes, Alexander has answered that question. So
the last question is it, this person is talking about metal ring, a metal ring. He said, is there a way? So is there a way to okay, the question is metal ring fits me out. Any trick? When I work on bags, they fly. I always
okay.
need to freeze. Do you understand? Metal ring.
Okay, I understand. Okay, actually, I've actually had an experience to making a bag, and I understand what the perspective is coming from regarding the metal ring. So when you want to make a metal ring, I think the best way you can go about it is to use one of the buttons and give it the texture of metal. Then of course when you use it as a button, this might be some complex process, but I'm just going to answer in case you understand the process. So when you use this as a ring, you can always click on the ring and make it a non-collider. So once you make it a non-collider, it does not, affect or interrupt the clothing pattern. So I think that's one way you can go about it, by using a button that is shaped in form of a metal ring. Or else, if you don't want to do that, you can import an OBJ. Maybe you can get the metal ring from other softwares and just import it. So that's another way to go about things. And sorry, just to add to the question about necklace, yes. So like Alexander said, you can make a lot of things with other softwares. In fact, the thing about this whole 3D visual fashion is that you can download bag, you can download necklace, you can download glasses, you can download art and import all of them into Clo3D. Yes, they are called OBJ objects. And when you go to websites like CG Trader, TurboSquid, free3d.com, you can download all those OBJ and import it. So you have more flexibility when you work with other softwares rather, because you can actually control how they will be on the avatar, how they will look, what position. So Clo3D does not give you very much flexibility in creating those necklaces, but you can always import all those necklaces into Clo3D.
Okay, so thank you, David. So it's a wrap. We are done with all the questions. So
all right. So like I said earlier, the purpose of us creating our group chats, this Telegram group chat, is to create a community of 3D clothes users. So if there is any one of you now that asks questions, you want to ask questions, you can always send it to the group chat. Then somebody is always going to be there to answer you. And sometimes you can always reach out to me personally on Telegram, and once in a while I can put you through one or two things. But that's the purpose of this group, for us to communicate. I think all of us share a common passion, and the passion all of us share is 3D visual fashion. So we are going to continue building that fashion, and together we are going to continue, working on this journey. So thank you very much, and I'm really, really, really happy to have each and every one of you here. So I think we can call it a wrap till our next training on 19th and 20th. So I advise you to be there for that training. Even if you don't yet have a system yet, you can still attend to the training. You can learn one or two things. Then when you get your system, you definitely know that, okay, you have some knowledge that you can use to pull through and push through. So you are invited for our training that is going to be on the 19th and 20th next week. Thank you very much. And once again, I'm very glad to have each and every one of you here. Thank you very much for our speakers for honoring this event. It means a lot to All Access Studios, and of course, we are always grateful for that. Thank you. All right, Stephen. So we can call this a wrap.
yes, so thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Bige. Thank you, Elizabeth. And thank you, David, for bringing everyone on board. And we appreciate all the attendees. Please, like we said, reach out to us if you have more questions. And for the next training, it's going to be very interesting that you don't need to miss it as a follow-up to some of the things you have been exposed to today. Thank you very much. So see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.